Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me on whatever day you're joining me on. I do appreciate this. What you're getting ready to listen to is a long-form interview with a comedian who is working out in Los Angeles. His name is Chance Nichols. He also has a podcast called We Didn't Peak with Chance Nichols. Chance and I actually lived in Springfield at the same time, and we went through the same improv school. I don't really know what you would call it. We took the same improv classes, but he and I never met up. We just missed each other, I guess, in the timeline of life. So when I heard that he was visiting Missouri, I knew that I had to have him on my morning radio show. It's called The Julie Wilson Show on 92.9 The Beat. And on the 92.9 The Beat app, if you want to download the app or listen live at 929thebeat.com, I'd appreciate it. So when he came to town, I knew that I had to have him not only on the show, but I wanted to do a long-form type discussion with him, so that's what you're getting ready to hear. Again, he has his own podcast called We Didn't Peak. The very hilarious Chance Nichols, everyone.
Oh, I do my podcast a similar way.
You do a podcast too? Mm-hmm. What's your podcast?
It's called We Didn't Peak with Chance Nichols.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I see it on social media.
Yeah.
I haven't listened, though. I'm so sorry.
That's fair.
Did you peak?
No, not yet. Many people have, but for somehow I haven't yet. Yeah.
But you're a working comedian, and that's pretty cool.
It's nice. It's gotten to a point where it's like I was so scared of day jobs whenever I was in college, because I went to Missouri State and I was an acting major.
Yeah, I went to Missouri State too. What year did you graduate?
17.
Okay, you're a few years behind me.
Yeah, and it was like anytime we would have an alum come in and be like I'm from New York City and I was on a non-regional tour of Brigadoon, whatever. I'd be like, what did you do after you got out of school? Your day job? I was always that kid. I would be like, what's the day job?
Yeah, are you from here? Are you from Southwest Missouri?
Yeah, I'm from Nixa.
Okay, so you know it all too well. I feel like I grew up like a real creative kid in small town America, and I was never really led to believe that that could be an option.
Right.
That pursuing the career. So even now, I'm doing it and I'm making money from it, albeit not a ton.
Yeah.
I still feel oh my gosh, what's my real job? Correct.
Yeah, it's a bizarre thing. It became real for me when I started working on Mystery Hour, actually.
With Jeff Houghton here in town.
Yes, I was a writer-performer there for 3-ish seasons when I was in college.
Yeah.
And we weren't not to disclose the financials of the show, but no one was buying houses and private jets off of what the show was generating, right?
I was so certain.
Exactly. But I think a big deal for me was these people are all grown-ups and they're doing, they're putting energy into this. What if I tried a little bit, you know?
And you did that. When did you move to Los Angeles? Because you're there now. You make your money writing for a YouTuber and you're a stand-up comedian. So when did you move out there? What encouraged you to GTFO Springfield?
Jeez. So I moved to Chicago first. I lived in Chicago for about 4 years.
Did you go to Second City?
A lot. Yes. In fact, I worked there.
Yeah.
I moved to Chicago a week after graduating from Missouri State. So me and my pals threw all our stuff in a U-Haul and hit the road. And I went there thinking I was going to get involved with one place called I.O., and because that seemed attainable and Second City seemed impossible. And then it became quite the opposite. I.O. didn't like me, but Second City loved me.
I.O., if I remember right, I.O. is one of them's for sketch. One's more for improv. What's the difference between the two?
So Second City is sketch comedy primarily.
Okay.
The shows there, I still do work for them to this day, where it's they used improv as a tool to generate sketch is the whole, because I did their conservatory program, and that's the whole idea is it's you get really good at improv and then you start writing your improvised scenes down.
And then for people who don't know, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, my two gods went to Second City.
They sure did. They weren't on the same touring company, but they were both on the touring company at one point. Tina did main stage for I think 3 reviews or something like that, and then Amy went off to start UCB. But yeah, I.O. is all improv all the time, which they have been closed down since summer 2020 and never reopened, but they're reopening sometime this fall, I think. Really? Second City reopened in spring of 2021. So
okay, right. I'm going to hold on. Don't move.
I won't.
It's not you, it's me. I want to give myself, sorry, Jack. Come back, Jack. I want to give myself just a little bit more room to edit with.
Cheers.
Sorry, Jack. I'm back.
All right.
So at what point did you move to Los Angeles? When did you leave the Windy City behind?
So I got out. It's funny. In January of 2020, I was like, all right, I'm going to move to LA. Well, I had heard of this thing called the coronavirus, but I was like, that sounds like a beer. Dumb. Let's go to the buffet. And so it's January 2020. I tell my boss at Second City, I'm like, hey, I want to move to LA this year. And she was like, well, we have a branch out there, so if you want to keep your job, you can. And I was like, everything's perfect. I have friends in LA that I'm going to move in with. This is awesome. Everything's going well. And then March came and we all went inside for several weeks.
Hard.
Exactly. All over the place. And it was the scariest moment of my entire life because I had put all of my eggs into the basket that was the entire success of the basket was contingent on large groups of people getting together in a small cramped space breathing at each other. And this doctor was going on television every week going, there's no way that's going to be allowed. And so
it shut down. So what did you kind of do? Where did you kind of pivot to?
That's what I was like, okay, so I can't move to LA now because the world is broken. But then I was like, wait a minute, maybe I can, because I had all these live shows in Chicago I was doing. There is a film and television industry in Chicago, but it's very small and it's kind of hard to get into because it's all people that have been working together for years. Anyway, I was like, okay, live performance is kind of gone right now. I could still move to LA where they make the movies and the TV, where I'm hearing
TV.
Exactly.
The television.
I'm 76 years old. I should have great skin. But I was like, okay, stuff can't happen there. Like, it's going to probably come back faster, that industry. So I was like, let's do it. And I closed my eyes and just started running west, and I made it there.
You don't live under like a bypass or anything like that?
No, we do. Oh boy, when I first moved there, we lived near a bypass.
Oh,
same. But now we have a house that is far from the highway.
That's really cool. Do you have any heckler experiences? Has anyone just heckled the crap right out of you?
Yes, and it's interesting. You see that yes and there? Good skinny improv training.
Yes.
So my style for stand-up comedy is I'm very high energy, and I scream at the top of my lungs, and I run around people. Do you know who Sam Kinison was?
The name's familiar. I can't immediately place.
He was like a fire and brimstone preacher, and then became a comedian. So his whole thing is like, and I wasn't copying him because I didn't know who he was when I started, but then people would tell me, you're like this guy. So that's the best point of reference for the folks at home. But hecklers, most hecklers for me are either too scared to talk or they're commenting on like my volume rather than my jokes, where God. And like the other night, I had one like 2 nights ago. In fact, I do this bit where I'm talking about how much I hate people that have the like my student is an honor roll student at blank middle school.
Oh, yeah, like the bumper sticker on the back of their car.
Yeah.
Like, we get it. Your kid's great.
Yeah, I was like, those people suck. And this woman was like, or we're just proud of our kids in the crowd. And I said, is your child an honor roll student at their middle school? Yes, she is. Cool. She's probably going to be working at a gas station for the rest of her life. Just like her mom, because I see what drinks you ordered and they're not the expensive cocktails, ma'am. And everyone was on my side.
A little bit of people work there. Was she mad? Have you ever had a heckler just get so mad that you came back at them that they just leave?
No, never yet. Never that. That honestly is one of the meanest I've been. And she just kind of like smiled and clapped along. But I have
gave you the awkward clap. She sunk in her seat, hoping no one knew who she was.
Exactly. But then, funny enough, actually, after I did that, Will Smith, the actor Will Smith, came out from the back and came on stage and punched me in the face.
Oh, that checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out. Yeah,
several times.
You got a punch, not an open hand slap.
He switched.
He's defending all women at this point.
Exactly. He's going from town to town, figuring out which comedy club has who on at whatever night.
Watch out, Chance Nichols. If you see him live on stage, Will Smith could be lurking in the background.
He's following me everywhere.
Dude, did you see, though, like not too long after that, someone went on stage and gave old Dave Chappelle a good wallop?
I sure did. And it's funny because I woke up and the headline that I saw was like, Dave Chappelle tackled on stage at a show at the Hollywood Bowl. Yeah. I was like, my God, someone tackled Chappelle. And then you watch the clip, and what happened was a guy like ran ran into Dave's hip, and Dave just kind of swung around, and the guy fell down, got up, and then got beaten within an inch of his life. So that's...
I don't mean to laugh at his pain. Apparently, the guy was upset like that his grandma got kicked out of her apartment for gentrification in Brooklyn.
Sure.
But also, apparently, he was an aspiring musician, and a few years ago, he wrote a song that involved Dave Chappelle.
Cool. Yeah, this sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, he seems swell. Don't you think, though, that your star power would increase if some knucklehead tackled you while you were on stage because you told some offhanded joke? Not that we're inviting this.
Right. No, easily. Well, that's the thing is it's like there's been a long-standing thing in comedy for years, like amongst comics, is we talk about how like it would suck, undeniably suck, but there could be no better death than someone shooting you like on stage because something you said, because that would you'd just be automatic legend status. Now you would be dead and your family would be sad, and I do not want that to happen. If you ever come see me at the Blue Room, which I'm not booked there this weekend,
this is not an invitation.
Yeah, no, but that is just a thing where it's like, the controversy and violence
increases post death. You never get to enjoy the lavishness of it.
Correct.
Very Vincent Van Gogh of you, if you will.
John Lennon.
Oh, well, he was already pretty famous.
He'd made his bones. He was probably going to end up playing like county fairs or something had he not been taken
Paul
out.
McCartney like only made $7 million with the Beatles, and now he's like a multi-billionaire, isn't he?
Right. Paul's very talented.
Yeah, have you met him?
I've always said that.
You know him?
I said that so familiar.
Yeah, you did. I was like,
Paul's a good guy. No.
Since you moved to Los Angeles from the Midwest, what's like the one thing that was so crazy that you saw? Was there anything that just caught you offhand?
Boy, I think the thing that no one talks about in LA, and I love LA. I'm that song. I love LA. I was not expecting how filthy it is, like from a cleanliness standpoint.
Yeah.
Like there's just like dirt and trash and like spray like
needles,
like
old
it's
tents.
Right. But it's the thing where it's like you see in movies and stuff they only film like one part of Beverly Hills that is very rigorously cleaned,
or it's that lookout in the Hollywood Hills, you know what I'm talking about, where they take, it's always like a car commercial and Los Angeles looks luxurious. It looks like there's a nice fog as the morning sun rises, but it's just smog from all of the like
it looks luxurious because you're miles away from the sidewalk.
Yeah,
basically.
I remember my first trip to Los Angeles. It was a number of years ago, and I was so excited to be dazzled by Hollywood Boulevard, and then it just smelled like piss.
Yes, and it still does. They're still pissing there to this day.
Yeah. Can I tell you, I thought that, you know the people that dress up in costumes and then you take photos with them?
Yeah.
For some reason, in my naive Midwest mind, a number of years ago, before I wised up to the fact, I thought that was like a legit like job.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it's not. Apparently, people think those guys are like homeless.
Yeah, well, it's a thing where you have to get a license to do it.
What?
But it's like you have to be, it's like because they're like buskers. I don't know what the technical term for it is, but it's like street performers technically. So you have to get like a permit. License is a fun term. They probably pay $20 a month to the city because the city is always looking for money from people.
They're greedy.
And, exactly. And then they dress up like a crack addicted Elmo standing on the corner being like, $2 for a picture with your child.
And they're aggressive too.
They're so mean. And if you try to, I was down there recently filming a bit for this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And
what's the YouTube channel? Shameless plug.
Roomy Official. Check it out on YouTube. We love subs. That means subscribers for all of you freaks out there.
Yeah.
But we were filming a bit, like a man on the street bit for a video, and these guys, like, when they saw our camera, they weren't even in the shot really, but like this guy so they have the person in the suit always has like a spotter with them, like someone not in the suit that kind of hangs back to make sure nobody like messes with them.
What happens in your life that you become an assistant to a guy that's in his mid 40s dressed up as Spider-Man on a Hollywood Boulevard? Like,
to vomit soaked Iron Man, and you're his manager.
You're his like go-to guy.
Yeah.
So you're out there shooting, they see your camera, you're not getting getting video of them.
No. And they're like, hey, no cameras, man. No cameras, no cameras, no cameras. And I turned to it was been a long day. I was hot. And I just turned and I was like, you're not the police. Is what came out of my mouth.
You're also not Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I mean? Like, we're not filming you.
You don't
silly
own
goose.
this place.
Yeah.
Also, it's like, it's a public sidewalk, moron. I don't know. But hey, love and light to them. They make their money $12 at a time.
Can you tell me this? I was reading, the NPR reported this, and there is a secret group in Los Angeles, and
the Illuminati, yes.
Yes, the Illuminati.
Sorry.
They're kind of like the vigilantes. They want more crosswalks, and the city like refuses to put them down. Mm-hmm. So they've been putting up crosswalks for pedestrians, and now the city's like scraping off the crosswalks they've created. Have you heard of this? Are there not crosswalks in Los Angeles?
I have heard of this. I heard about this recently because the city was like, we're going to scrape away your makeshift crosswalks. Aren't they called like the LA Crosswalk Collective or something?
Yeah, they're called the Crosswalk Collective LA.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's sloppy copywriting.
Yeah.
I'll get with them. No, the thing is, it's a perfect metaphor for the local city government of Los Angeles that the people said, hey, we need a crosswalk here. Our children are getting hit by cars or whatever it is they said. And the city said, well, just, keep believing and we'll figure it out. And finally, people went out and just did it themselves. And the city, rather than just going out and painting the crosswalks, they're allocating probably the same amount of funds and time to go and scrub away.
I saw like a skid steer and it looked like they were trying to skid up the paint.
Yeah.
Like it was like so committed to it.
Yeah. And they'll just rip a pothole probably in there. And then leave that too, because
these streets can't be any worse than what they are.
No, and that's the other thing that was really shocking for me is you're basically driving in like the Serengeti whenever you're driving around the valley in LA, which is where I drive because YouTube pays, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And so I'll just be driving around like North Hollywood, Burbank and stuff. Burbank is nice, but
Burbank
North Hollywood
is like, oh, Burbank.
Yeah, it's a sweet old person town. But like North Hollywood, I'm just I feel like I'm Ace Ventura in the opening sequence of that one Ace Ventura movie.
If you're listening right now, I want to give a description of what I just saw. You have curly, long-ish hair, and it was flowing so freely as you bounced your head back and forth for that. That was very...
Hair by L'Oreal.
Yeah, I appreciate the commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, why can't they get their streets fixed out there? What's the deal?
I don't know. I think it's just a matter of the volume of cars that drive across them every day, it's almost impossible to shut down any street or highway for X amount of time. Like, you have to do it so incrementally. And also, the earthquakes break the road.
I saw San Andreas Falls starring The Rock.
That's a great film.
Yeah.
Almost as good as Skyscraper, where The Rock, with just his human arm, held a building up from falling down.
Is that the one that has the giant white gorilla in it?
No, that would be Rampage, also starring The Rock. They came out the same year, I'm pretty sure.
They're both just ridiculous films, but we're all going to go see them because of the name.
Exactly.
There's a brand recognition.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to switch topics a little bit because I was... with my mom yesterday, we were kind of looking at houses, and I made just a comment. I said, I don't want a house with stairs.
Oh.
I've had stairs before, and I would often, slip and fall, bust my little booty. And she goes, Julie, when we were growing up, you begged for stairs. And it dawned on me that I wanted a house with stairs because I thought that's what the pinnacle of wealth was. Sure. If you had a home with stairs, you were rich.
Yeah.
What was one thing growing up for you that you thought made your friends rich?
A basement.
Yeah.
A furnished basement with like carpet and couches and a big TV.
Is it a walkout basement?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With a little sliding glass door out into the backyard, or a dug-in basement. That also was pretty cool. But oh, yeah, I'm picturing there's a wet bar that's just stocked with Dr. Peppers. Dad probably thought this was going to be his space. And then the kids hit puberty and said, we need to be in a dungeon alone because we smell and we don't want to be around mom or anybody upstairs.
So the basement. Also for me, I always thought if you had an ice maker in the refrigerator, on the refrigerator door, I was like, these people, they are living their highest life.
That's big money. Or people that, can afford to have something other than popcorn for dinner. That would also be huge.
Could you only afford popcorn for dinner?
Nah, it rarely got that bad. But, there were some nights where it was like, all right, family movie night. And I'm like, but what about dinner? Family movie night.
You get in there and you eat your popcorn, Chance.
Exactly, which I love popcorn. It's a good snack.
Yeah, it is a good snack. Good and healthy for you. Speaking of things that make you rich, I wanted to talk about this. Apparently, Gucci is selling an umbrella. You can get on the wait list if you would like.
Okay.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
You should know, though, it's not waterproof. The website says it's meant for sun protection and decoration. As a working comedian in Los Angeles, how much of this BS do you see out there? Because to me, I'm like, this is going to be a couple $100. Maybe you got to drop a few G's to get this useless umbrella.
Yes, useless products are abound. People love something that just makes it. It's like, do you remember like at Silver Dollar City? That's a local cut. There for a few years, they would sell invisible dogs. Where you just had a leash.
Oh yeah.
That had like a hard rubber
it stayed firm.
Yeah, it's that. It's you're walking an invisible dog. You're not getting anything out of it, and the product's not getting anything out of it. It's just existing.
You have it, and it's got Gucci written on the side
right.
of it.
Why not just call it a parasail? Isn't that what it is? Isn't a parasail something that isn't? It's an umbrella that's meant for sunlight, not for that, like French ladies walk like down the lane with.
I thought a parasail, you drug that behind the boat. You know what I mean?
That is also English is a fun language. Yeah. Multiple things can mean multiple things. Yeah. Don't eat. It's time to eat, grandma. It's time to eat, grandma. You know.
Oh
what I mean?
yeah. Wherever you put that comma is going to be a different meaning to that statement.
I do love Gucci. I love luxury. I walked out with about an hour left of House of Gucci in the movie theater because I just couldn't take it.
You couldn't take it. No. Do you ever go? Now this is kind of okay. This is for legal purposes. This is theoretical.
Okay, for
Have
sure.
you ever been to one of those streets where they sell the fake bags? Like in New York, it's Canal Street. They come up to you. They're all secretive. They open their trench coat, as you would imagine, just like in the villainous films. Hey, you want to buy a watch type thing. Is that happen in LA?
It happens in LA downtown. I haven't experienced it there, but I did experience it in New York. Yeah. And it was in Chinatown down there. And my buddy, we were down there visiting, and my buddy was like, I want to get my mom a handbag, like an authentic Coach purse. And so we went to Chinatown to find an authentic Coach purse because we were 18. And we go to this place that said, there's a guy standing on a stoop that says, handbags here, handbags, Coach, Gucci, Louis Vuitton handbags. We're like, oh, that guy probably has handbags. And he's just a guy standing in front of a building with blacked out windows and no signage on it. So we just go into this building, and it looks like a dollar store. Like it's laid out like a dollar store, but there's just purses. Hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of purses just lining the walls. There's a big bargain bin in the middle. And we're like, this is perfect. It's the purse store. And we're looking, and they're all knockoffs. They're all fakes. And the lady at the register is like, if you're looking for authentic Gucci, tap on the magic mirror in the back of the store. And we said, what does that mean? She goes, tap on the magic mirror in the back of the store. So we go to the back of the store, and there's like two people in line at this mirror, and they tap it, and the door opens, and a little man is standing there, and he takes them into the thing. And we're there with my friend's parents are also there. And they're, from Missouri as well. They're just like, oh, this must just be how commerce happens in New York City.
We have like no clue.
This is like Seinfeld. Wow. And so it's our turn. My buddy taps on the glass. The guy comes up, how many? And he's like,
say it like that?
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah, how many? And my buddy goes, oh, it's just me. I'm getting a purse for my mom. And the guy goes, no men, only women allowed back here. And he's like, why? She goes, it's very small, narrow. And he's like, I'm a small guy. He goes, no. And then shuts it. And so we're like, oh, that's how you get kidnapped. That's the kidnapping door.
Shoot, he could have had a real adventure.
Right, exactly.
I did it 1 year, and I didn't do it 1 year. Theoretically, I have experienced this, but my favorite part's like when the police would come, they would act like they didn't know you. I was like, this is so rude. Are we doing business or not?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, I want to transition. I'm going to read you some facts, and I just want to get your thoughts on them, okay?
Oh, boy.
I'm always looking to educate the audience a little bit.
Same.
I can't always be giving titty and butthole jokes.
Right.
It's got to be smart somewhere.
They are great, but yeah.
Give me your thoughts on this. Apparently, scallops, we've accidentally discovered, are attracted to LED lights, and this might lead to new fishing techniques that are better for the environment. What are your thoughts?
I have said for years that scallops are the moths of the sea, so this is not news to me.
Have you really?
They're attracted for years. I've said scallops. I'll go out on my boat and I'll just stare down and say moths of the sea, and then keep moving. No, I mean everybody wants to be a star, don't they? They see the bright, shimmering lights of Hollywood and they go, "Let's go." I don't even know what a scallop looks like in the wild. I know what they look like because of Hell's Kitchen,
okay,
like on a plate.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Me either.
Yeah.
I don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
And I don't really care that they're attracted to life. I think it's great that we might develop new fishing techniques that are better for the environment.
Right.
Other than that, I'm not eating them. I'm not the consumer for scallop land.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Until you just said that, I'm like, I thought scallop was a type of cut of fish. That's how dumb I am. I'm like, it's a scallop cut.
We're just from the Midwest.
You're right.
High-end dining to us is Applebee's or
Red Lobster.
Olive Garden.
Yeah.
The
big three. We just said the big three.
For sure.
Yep.
Speaking of Red Lobster, I'm going to transition to a fact that has nothing to do with any of those restaurants. NASA, they're not allowing spacewalks for now because the spacesuits on the ISS keeps water keeps getting into the astronauts' helmets, which, in space, if your helmet fills up with water, you die.
Not a great move. I would love all space activity to cease until we can maybe put a fire out on U.S. soil. Does that make sense?
You don't want to see what's out there?
I would love to see what's out there. I would love for them to come to me. That's always been my move. Anytime I'm at a bar, I'm not going to approach you. I'm going to sit there and look real presentable like a peacock, and you come to me. That's how I feel for aliens.
Okay, did you see here lately that the United States is like, I know what to do. We will send nudie photos into outer space to see if aliens want to come down here and get some.
Take a look at this, huh? And they're bad. They're like 8-bit, weird,
it looks
pixelated.
Like you sketched them out on the Oregon Trail.
Yes, exactly. They look like Oregon Trail. It's like, come quick before he dies of dysentery.
And he's dead. Yep. He fell into a river. Yeah. There's a Donner Party situation happening. Just don't come down here for a few hot minutes.
Yeah.
I did think that was like an interesting move, that nude photos are what we're sending to space in order to get aliens to consider coming down here and taking a look about.
That's what happens, I think, whenever millennials start being in charge of projects.
You think that millennials are obsessed with sending out poorly illustrated nudie photos?
Well, they've been doing it their whole lives.
Oh, yeah.
It's called their bodies is the poorly illustrated. But I mean, it just makes sense. It's like if you're a person that's like 33, you remember a time before nudes and then after nudes, and you also remember the effect that it's like beep. It's like putting a brick of gold on your front porch, and everybody comes running. So I think that's not a bad move, but we also might be attracting some horny aliens, so that could be a real problem.
I was on the flip side. The aliens might think that we're sex offenders.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, oh my God, not to go on a tangent at all.
Tangent away.
There is a theory out there that I am now it's picking up steam, and I'm starting to believe in it. That there's an ice wall. No, the Earth is flat. But there's a theory.
Where's this going?
No, I know. I'm sorry. I've had a little bit of coffee anymore. That Earth is a prison planet. And that humans, and that humans, our distant ancestors, were exiled from the intergalactic community because human beings are so prone to violence.
No. This happens in Superman.
Which one? The Christopher Reeves one?
It happens in the Christopher Reeves one. It's a Phantom Zone.
Yeah, the Phantom. It's similar, but that's Earth because...
We're the Phantom Zone?
We are on the Phantom Zone because we are not equipped at all to live on this planet. We have to build buildings to not die if we slept outside. We have to build restaurants and kitchens to cook food, or we're not like go try to just eat a deer.
No, we're not going to raw dog a head of corn.
Exactly. We're just uniquely intelligent. We don't look like anything else really. Like people are like, oh, chimpanzees and you have a DNA as a banana or whatever. But it's like, no, we look like these hairless freaks that have come and built weird, unnatural structures on this planet.
No, the pyramid. Have you learned about the pyramid theory? That the pyramids are... they're all formed around the same time, but in different parts of the world, and it's supposed to reflect the alignment of the stars. But how did they all know to build at the same time? There's a theory, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just thought it was interesting that aliens did it. You know how we went to the moon and we were like, "This here's our moon." We put a flag on it.
Yep.
Maybe the pyramids are the flag of aliens.
I believe that.
Yeah,
I would believe that because it's like. how do you build a pyramid without a crane?
I have no clue.
You know what I mean? I've watched the videos where people are like, oh, it's impossible. That's why we don't know how they got built and we never will.
Do you know
Good
what
night.
I just learned about pyramids? They used to be white.
Yeah.
With limestone.
Fine, like smooth white edge. You could like roll a skateboard down them.
Yeah, that seems dangerous, but yeah. It's like you would need to be in the pyramid after that because you did.
Exactly.
Okay, my next fact is a lead researcher at Google's DeepMind company claims that we are super close to achieving human-level artificial intelligence. Your thoughts, Chance?
Take us away.
Take
me away. Plug me into the Matrix. Make me Keanu Reeves in 1999. I don't want any of this anymore.
Why is what I want to know. Why?
Yeah.
After we've made all these films out of Hollywood,
right?
Why do we want human-level artificial intelligence? Why not next level? Because I've met humans, and a lot of them aren't great.
Oh, because everyone thinks they can change them. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. It's like, I'm going to date this guy that drives motorcycles through children's hospitals shooting a gun because I can change him.
I like a bad boy.
Exactly. Yeah. These scientists like a bad boy, so they're going to build a murder bot that's going to launch all the nukes at the same time.
It makes me super nervous, though, that we're on that planet. I think it's because I was watching... Okay, this is my second Superman reference. I was watching Superman and... I was watching... Lois and Clark.
The one with...
Yeah, Dean Cain from the 90s and Terry Hatcher.
Wow.
And they had invented this like level of virtual reality where you could actually pew and they would... in it, people would die in it. What? You could shoot people and they would die. Yeah. And so after I watched that episode, a few days later, Meta came out, and I was like, this ain't for me.
I have one of those. I have an Oculus at our house, and I haven't played it in weeks, but my roommate Avery is lost in that thing.
You're in a simulation right now.
Yeah. Some people would say that's exactly true. I don't think we're in a simulation because it's a little too... I don't know. It's not perfect enough, and it's too imperfect. I think we're right in the middle, but I do think a simulation is coming. This is from years ago, and it could probably maybe they fixed it. I don't know. I'm not a science doctor, but what they do is shout out to Step Brothers. Was that Step Brothers? No, that's.
I don't know. I'm going to credit you with the original.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
I think it's from something, but there was an article that came out. It was like Facebook was creating their AI algorithm, and they have their AI division, and they created an AI, and then they created a second AI, and they put them in a room together essentially, and within like 5 minutes these two artificial intelligence like systems had invented a language that humans couldn't understand and were communicating back and forth with each other.
I remember this.
Yeah. And so I think literally, I like to think in my head, a guy in a white lab coat just ran in and pulled a big plug out of the wall.
Said, I don't think so.
We can't be doing this. I just watched iRobot.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I can't even keep up with my Duolingo app, and they've invented a language in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Shifting gears now to things that aren't important, did you see Hot Pockets is now selling cold pockets? It's called the Deli Witch sandwiches, and you thaw it out before you eat it, but it's cold.
Oh, it's a burrito. They've invented the burrito. They've
reinvented the wheel. It comes in pepperoni and cheese, ham and cheese, turkey and cheese, and then just cheese.
I've always been more of a lean pockets guy because I'm sort of a fitness icon. But
how you said that? I'm not laughing at the fitness icon. It was just your. I'm a fitness icon.
I'm something of a fitness icon. I'm a professional skier, boxer, polo player, many things. I do a lot. I learned it all here in Springfield. There's a polo course. That's what they call it, right? Polo course.
I surf.
It's in a pool. I think companies that are trying to innovate past their own sort of potential for what we want out of their product are doomed to fail. Now, Hot Pockets has an empire. I think Hot Pockets is going to be perfectly fine, but the same thing happened with Snapchat. I don't know if you remember this a few years ago if you're a Snapchat user.
I kind of forgot about Snapchat just in general.
Because they updated past what they were worth, and then they had to circle back around, and now the kids are all back on it. But there for a while, it was the biggest thing. It was Hot Pockets. It was hot. It was awesome. It was in your pocket. In many ways, Snapchat is the natural successor to Hot Pockets.
Yeah.
But then they just added all this crap that no one asked for, and it would crash your phone, and your battery would die, and everyone deleted it. And then they said, okay, we're going to go back to how it was. And now people are back. And so I think that's what companies have to do. They have to sort of get bigger than their britches and then circle back to what works.
Do you kind of wish we'd go back to a a time where social media was just MySpace and you're trying to figure out what background to HTML?
Yeah, oh, you really just put me there.
Yeah.
My profile song was To Be Loved by Papa Roach, which used to be the theme song for WWE Monday Night Raw. And so people would come to my profile, Kansas City Chiefs logos would flow down. I yearn for those days so much.
It was a simpler time.
It was.
Now there's so many platforms you have to keep up with. TikTok, Instagram, whatever else Instagram's trying to force down our throats.
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter, the cesspool of all social media.
Oh, tell me, my pocket has been vibrating like a single woman's dresser drawer since I walked in here.
I call those a bob.
Oh, yeah?
A battery-operated boyfriend.
That's really good. That's very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that was... I'm going to write that down.
Oh, perfect.
I'm going to turn this whole thing into a podcast.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, easy breezy. Okay. Chance, where can people find you on social media if they want to follow you?
At Joe Rogan. No, you can find me on all forms of social media at Chance is Loud branding.
And your podcast is called?
Podcast is We Didn't Peak. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. There's an Instagram at We Didn't Peak. Again, subscribe to the Roomy official YouTube channel. I'm on that thing a lot, and you'll see all my little jokes on it, too.
All my little jokes. Okay, dude, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Love you, Springfield, and the greater 417 area.
Everywhere this reaches.
Right, except for Ozark, because I went to Nixa. Yeah.
If you made it to the end, thank you so much. I do appreciate this. If you're watching on YouTube, I think I want to start a podcast. I don't know what it would be about. Would you listen? Would you watch? How do you start a podcast? Someone tell me how the business ends of things work, please, because I got the ideas. I just don't know the business end of things. So please comment, like, subscribe, all the other things you're supposed to do on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, I sporadically